Now, wait just a darn minute. Burlison said they didn't call him Lacatski because he wouldn't add anything new? What? That can't be right. That can't be right. So UFO Joe posted something today about something that ticked him off on Weaponized, assuming this is what he's talking about, if it's indeed. I haven't watched the whole clip. I wanted to watch it with you guys. But I want to see if it's even true, because I can't imagine that that's true, that he said that. That doesn't make any sense. That the guy who's one of the guys who's running, who's getting subpoenaed to not bring in Lacatski would be one of the stupidest things that anyone's ever said. So I can't imagine he said that. If he did say that, and that's what I'm about to watch, I am no longer taking this person serious, but I can't believe that he said that. So let's watch the actual clip from Weaponized. Thank you to UFO Joe. And then hopefully that's not what was said. Let's check this out.
Dr. James Lacatski came on our show. He ran the UFO program for the Defense Intelligence Agency, and he admitted on our show that they breached the hull of a UFO in government possession.
You reported James Lacatski came to you with government possession of NHI craft and how they ultimately gained entry. Can you testify to the veracity of that claim?
Dr. Lacatski is an honorable man who served most of his career with the DIA, a very trusted, high-level rocket scientist and intelligence analyst who inspired the OSAP program, as I said earlier. He said this craft, we had managed to get inside of it. It had no wings, no rotor, no tail. It had no fuel tanks. They didn't know how it flew or how it was operated. It clearly looked like it was aerodynamic, but he would not go further. He's a by-the-book guy, and until he gets clearance to say more about that, I don't think we're going to hear much more. But it's not ours. It wasn't ours. We didn't make it. We didn't know who made it and how it was built and how it operated. We've got at least one, and I don't know. I think that's enough confirmation that we do have recovered discs and material.
So, and you put that in congressional record. Do you have a way that you can, find out where is it? He can't tell us, but maybe he can tell you. Where is that craft? Can you go hunt it down? Can you go see it?
That's an interesting question. When it came to Lacatski, and I watched his interview that he did with you guys, and here's what my response to him is, because he was frustrated that we hadn't reached out to him, but he also admitted that, which is what I was told, and the reason why we haven't reached out to him is that he's not going to tell us anything that's not in his books.
Well, hold on. You did reach out to him. There have been 3 hearings. I reached out to them on behalf of Congress officially.
That's right.
Twice to say, and I had congressional members talk with him the hearing before the last one. He just forgot. But the point is that maybe with you guys in the correct environment, with the right clearances, he can tell you where it is, and you can just put this to bed and go find it.
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember that he was one of the people that we had tasked you to go to reach out to. And for those people that are kind of asking how did that relationship work? Look, we don't have all the contact information for all these people. Why repeat the work that you two have done in building these contacts in your networks? And so you basically patriotically dedicated your time for free helping us make contact and kind of coordinate some of those witnesses. And I had been told Lacatski is probably not going to reveal anything that, that he hasn't already revealed. Everybody, when I talked to people, it seemed like it wasn't going to be new information. And therefore, to me, he wasn't as high of a priority. But to your point, I think getting him in a skiff and seeing if there's maybe any additional room for him to talk, it might be worthwhile to do that.
I think he might. I mean, the last conversations that we've had, it seems like he's edging closer to the idea that under right circumstances, he would be willing to share information with Congress, which would be great.
What a rinky-dink operation is going on over there. What a rinky-dink operation is happening in Congress. He's right in the fact that he's saying that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have built up the contacts and have more clout in this space and trust with people like whistleblowers and other people than they do. He's right. But it shows you where we are. it shows you where we are in so many different levels of that interview. I no longer take anything Burlison really says seriously after hearing that. Because both Jeremy Corbell and Knapp are both telling you. Knapp is saying at the end, no. If you call him in, he might tell you some stuff. He might share some other things that he hasn't told us. Under oath, in front of the world, he might say things that we haven't heard yet. And Jeremy's going, no. You guys have reached out to him. Don't you think it would make sense? Here's a guy who's told us on our show, and you brought into record that they breached the hull of this ship. Shouldn't you ask him where it is? Isn't that something you should do? Why? And they're both asking the right questions. But why are they asking those questions? They shouldn't have to ask those questions. The people in the government should already know this. And, he's just going to tell us the same stuff that he did in the books. The guy is going to tell people under oath that they breached the hull of a ship. You had George Knapp in, who's very well respected. Yeah, you can't find a more well-respected reporter in this space than George Knapp. And it was great to see him under oath and the things that he was saying. But he was doing we had a guy on a show who said they breached the hull of the ship. And the guy who breached the hull of the ship is telling you he'll come in and tell you that he breached the hull of the ship. He's just going to talk about what's in the books. That's the whole point. Is the stuff that he's been talking about on podcasts. You want to see him do it under oath. You want to see him do it in front of one of these hearings. Lacatski, one of the major names. This is the stupidest interview I've ever seen anyone give. Wow. We reached out to him. We reached out. Well, you reached out to him. We had you reach out to him. Why are you having these guys? And you did it for free. You did it as patriots. You cheap sons of bitches. You should get them to work for you. You should pay them. The government should pay them. If you know the access that these two guys have, whether it's Lacatski, Matt Brown, any of these people that trust them, and you can get them, imagine the stuff that most people have told them on their podcast was told under oath in front of Congress for the first time. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yeah. Let's bring in the guy, that Star Trek guy from last time who gave absolutely nothing. Let's bring in Schellenberger. Again, nothing against him as a reporter, but what the hell's he doing there? Instead of Lacatski? That's the stupidest thing anyone has ever said in this space regarding that. I can't believe it. And I've always given Burlison props when it's come to him being interested. But he is not doing the work, if that's the case. He has to be one of my first guys. I'm going, are you kidding? Get him in front of and let him say the stuff he's been saying on podcasts. Let him say it. I mean, if anybody should know, Burlison's paying attention to the space, and sure, Lacatski's out there in the space talking about these things and his experience, but you're putting him on the big stage here in front of national news. Isn't that the goal, to push that forward? He would be one of the biggest witnesses thus far. The skiff and other things. Not having him there, again, until today, had nothing but Burlison's the guy. That if with answers like that, this is not the guy that should be in one of the main guys. With an answer like that, not one of the main guys who should be running this thing. I don't know who it is anymore. I don't know. I mean, when you get Burchett is at least saying he wants to talk to the president about this stuff. He wants to sit down. He wants to have meetings. They want to set up things with Rubio. Okay, that's the route you should be going. I'm with you. But you don't want Lacatski there because, and you weren't even the one who reached out to him. It's like, well, yeah, we want him at the party, but tell his friend that we know to invite him. You invite him, and you talk to him, and you tell him how serious it is. And you say, look, we respect what you did. We wanted you to come in. How is he, Eric Davis, Stratton, not the next three? Those are your three. Those are the three people that you put for the next hearing. This is crazy. I can't believe that that's a real interview. I can't believe that's a real interview. Anyone that has now, I get it. If Lacatski had been in there already, or like Lou Elizondo, they're like, if he was like, well, we're not bringing in Lou again because Lou's just going to say the same stuff that he did. He can't talk about anything else that he did. He's already under oath. He's already been in there. He's not going to say more that was in the book. We really can't get him to say anything further. So it doesn't really make sense. Yeah. Okay. I understand that. Well, Lacatski, he's not going to say anything else. We got a good enough answer from George, who told us when he was on your show. Hear it from the guy straight out of his mouth. This is the craziest answer. I cannot believe that's the answer that you. Jeremy said it. He's telling you that where's the ship? And even if he doesn't give you an answer, press on that. Press on that. Okay. So you said you on the Weaponized podcast, and George Knapp was in here and on the last hearing and said that you and we heard on the interview you had said that you guys had breached a hole of the ship. Is that correct? That is correct, sir. Or cannot say. But why could you say there? Well, the reason why, because this, and that. Or, yes, we did. Where is the ship? I cannot say, sir. How come this? But, and press him. How do you not press him? Well, he's not going to say anything else. How do you know that? How do you know that? If you have a witness like that is willing to come in, you find the best of the best to say, well, let him go down that road. Have you ever seen a Matthew McConaughey movie? You go to the right and left, and you know what? We'll get him to say this. But he might not say that. Yeah, but if you ask him this, he might. What in the world? I've been talking about this recently. This cements. I have no faith that the government, the task force, and I was a big advocate of this. I have made a 180. I have no confidence in them whatsoever. No confidence. It's an absolute clown show. What's going on over there after this answer? This is ridiculous. You might find this to be not true. You might disagree with me. What say you? Do you think that he's right? You think that Lacatski isn't going to add anything new? They shouldn't have, or is this an absolute ridiculous answer that no one in this position should have given? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Again, thank you to UFO Joe for posting that clip. And if that is indeed the thing that pissed him off today, sir, I get it. So thank you for being here. Have a great weekend, everybody. And that's it. I'll talk to you soon.